previously on the Overbrook Show. When the pandemic hit at La Cité, it was very disappointing because I think that was the year we were going to win a national championship. These are the kind of things that I stopped seeing as I grew up, but in this area, it seems like they were stuck in time almost.
I know the neighborhood well, and I know the people, and not just what you see on the news. It's more than what you just see. Exactly.
And bro, you have the opportunity of changing things for you and your family and your people.
Phoenix is a mythical firebird that symbolizes rebirth. This piece is dedicated to those who embody this beast. This poem is about those who had to drag their dreams out of a hearse. It's about those who gave up everything they wanted to give us everything we need. Great achievement is usually born of great sacrifice and is never the result of selfishness. My mother risked her life for my right to dream, so I've been given no choice but to exceed.
Prezdential was created out of pain, you know, like a little flashback in my life. Like, I was about 25 years old and I figured like I got everything figured out right now, you know, but I was definitely had a lot of pain in me, you know. I was playing pro basketball, you know, I just came back from England. I didn't really love that experience, you know, because you got to see the business in the professional life, you know. When you're in college, the game of basketball is still a team game to an extent, right? But once you get into the professional world, you know, you can play for some organizations where literally you start to see the jealousy and envy of the game, you know, when money is introduced, their job's on the line. So if you're outperforming them, they may look for other ways to sabotage your success. So you start to learn the business of the game of basketball. And that way, kind of, it's almost like dreams and nightmares, you know, because something that was so beautiful your whole life starts to become a little dark, and you still love it, but you understand it's not as rosy as you thought it was growing up. I came back to Ottawa, spent a whole month just clearing up my mind and figuring out what I want to do next. I didn't have an agent, so that summer I wasn't living so righteously. I was doing whatever I needed to do to get the money I needed to pay trainers and put me in a perspective where I can actually make a team without an agent. And I ended up going to the NBL draft and I performed very well out there. I ended up getting, being drafted 11th to the Ottawa Skyhawks.
In the 2013 NBL Canada draft, the Ottawa Skyhawks selects Manock Lual from Ottawa, Ontario.
So it was a crazy moment in my life, you know, because like I spent a whole summer just putting everything into the game and then seeing it all manifest. And at this time, you know, I'm trying to be the breadwinner for my family. So I'm using basketball as my tool. But it's like, at the same time, I told you I got all this pain in me and I'm not even understanding the pain.
Playing for your hometown, not traveling very far, there's gotta be excitement with that.
Man, I love my city already. Now it's just time to make them love me.
Like, where we at right now, man?
In Ottawa, bro.
Okay, tell me about this area, bro.
Bro, this is where I started, bro. This is home.
What makes Caldwell different?
For me, like on a personal level, it's like when you come home, you know, like everybody's on the same level kind of thing, you know? Starting as a kid, as a youth. So it's like I come home from high school, drop my bag, everybody's doing the same thing. And we're talking about the same nonsense from different schools, right? And we don't even go to the same school type thing. And we just like talk about the same girls kind of thing. And it's just like a link up. And then we start hooping. It's like it becomes art, you know? A lot of people just make fun of each other, but it looks like it's hate or whatnot. But it's a different kind of love, you know? It's tough love, where it's like, if you can't see it as love, you're just gonna get sunk and left behind kind of thing, you know what I mean?
So you saying like when it comes to the block, then it's like, you gotta be tough to live out here?
In a way where it's like, you gotta understand how to be tough. You don't gotta be tough, but you gotta understand how to be tough, you know what I mean? Because the smallest guy is not acting the rowdiest and shows that he's tough. He just understands how to be in crowds, you know what I mean? How to read people, that's a different kind of tough.
Most of the communities that you see throughout the show, from Caldwell to Overbrook, even Lower Town, like these communities have came a long way. I used to go to all these areas to play basketball as a kid, so from where some of these communities were to where they are now is a huge transition. I'm seeing a lot more community spirit just like entrenched in all these areas. But it is different and they do have their issues.
I mean, yeah, it's been hard to see, you know, that like my neighborhood going like this. Like 2 kids died, 2 young kids with, you know, like a good future ahead of them. Tyson was about to go play football.
No, man.
He had a lot going well for him.
No, man.
You see the interview that his parents had, and the parents talking about they came here for a better life, and you know, giving their son a better opportunity. But something like this happens, and it's just hard to see. It doesn't make sense. And a lot of people wanted to say, you know, he's in the wrong place, wrong time, but I don't think that's it. So where is the place to be? They were just playing basketball. They were just at the court playing basketball.
Good ass question.
Everyone wants to make
Where's the place to be?
Exactly. Everyone wants to make, you know, excuses or reasons for what happened, but nobody wants to take action on it or do something about it. So they'll say wrong place, wrong time, or something like that. But you know, if it's not, where else are kids gonna go? A basketball court? They're gonna go hang out in the park. If that's not where they're supposed to be, where is the place to go?
You hit me up a little while ago. You talked about going back to playing pro, and like I had a real conversation with you, man. I talked to you and told you like, yeah, man, pro is all good, but you gotta remember those other times, right? Those dark times while you're playing pro, where it's like, yeah, like you're running from contract to contract. There's no security. You're trying to figure out where your next meal is coming from, basically, you know? You're gonna get traded, you're gonna get cut, you can get fired. Like, it's a lot of anxiety when it comes to playing pro, man.
So there was an assistant coach for the Skyhawks that commented on a post that I made, you know, and I think that moment right there changed my whole pro career. From that moment on, I felt like I was battling 10 times harder just to kind of be in the middle of the pack, you know? It got to the point where no matter what I could do, no matter how well I performed in practice, I just wasn't getting no minutes at all. I started really slacking on my habits, not being as consistent as I was. I was thinking, yo, let this year be a learning year and kind of figure out next year. I ended up getting cut from that situation, you know? And I was definitely better than a lot of guys on that team, but I just never got the opportunity. And I learned the politics of the game. And from that moment, man, I spiraled. You know, I didn't have ball in my heart no more. I just had a lot of pain.
I like really lost myself, you know? I literally said, the world. I started hitting the streets hard, bro. I really bought into all the narratives, man. I'm dead serious about that. I was doing that I said to myself I'd never do, you know? And they're like there's a real darkness that comes after you lose your passion, man. Did you go through something similar? Was it like that for you too?
100%. For me, it's like it got confusing. Everything was blurry in terms of like your vision of ball, your vision of your own personal goals. It doesn't look as clear, and people don't even understand where it's coming from, right? And the answers can't come from your family members, can't come from your coaches, can't come from nobody, because nobody's in that situation with you, you know what I'm saying? So it is dark, bro.
I think what broke me the most is when I came home and I had to tell my mom, like, yeah, I got released, you know? And like just watching her cry, like that broke me, man. That really broke me. And I think like from that moment on, like going through all that pain really healing and understanding like who I am for the first time again, you know, from like the core, from the center. That's where Prezdential started, you know.
Giving back is probably the biggest thing.
It's crazy, bro. Remember I told you how like when I tapped out, I could have been a maniac, but I decided to tap in. This is the reason why I decided to tap in. It's the same thing. Everybody looking at Prezdential now, but they ain't looking at it when I was tapped out. They're looking at it when I'm tapped in. It's like, yeah, man, I had to tap out. And the only thing that kept me tapped in was being able to come see these kids and they're like, yo, like, oh, you played pro, oh, you played here. Yo, how do I do that? Yo, show me how to do this. And so we started, in and now we started doing drills together, start working, and like man, your soul starts to heal. Cause you start to see it, like you see yourself in everybody, a little bit of your piece of yourself in everybody, you know, it's like.
We started off as a basketball entity, but Prezdential has grown to become something so much bigger. At this point right now, I think it represents being able to accomplish and be successful on your journey while trusting yourself and walking it for yourself.
I don't think morally you can sit down and live in a community and see the suffering of people or see, the conditions that they're in and say that you don't want to try and improve them. And so that's one of the real motivators for me. We have high levels, as an example, of child poverty. We have the highest food bank usage in the province in this area. And so we need to actually take forward momentum and movement. And that's what motivated me to run.
So Overbrook is located in the east end of the city of Ottawa. When I first came to Canada, there was a huge flux of first generation kids, kids from Jamaica, Haiti, East Africa, West Africa, even of certain Arab Asian countries, just all packed into one area. And you got a whole lot of different cultures and customs. You got to learn a whole lot of different languages and taste different foods. So there was such a unique creativity to the area.
That's why it's important to me. It's real. It's not something that is abstract, Often people might not live in the neighborhood, represent it. They know the issues, they know the concerns, but they often don't know the people intimately or the challenges intimately.
What are some challenges in this community then? Like, there's definitely strength, and this community has gotten stronger in the last few years through COVID. But what are the challenges you see we face in Overbrook?
Well, definitely we have challenges with income. We need people to have more opportunities, whether those are employment opportunities or social access to social services. We need more amenities here, more investments in recreation and education. And we need to ensure that people here have opportunities to really jump over that bar, jump over the poverty line, and be able to stay here and contribute with more resources. Even at the economic level, I think that we are starting to see seeds of hope and improvement, but we need to really, like any type of plant or any type of garden, you have to really tend to it well. You have to ensure that it grows well. You have to, ensure that you have the right food, the right fertilizer for those beautiful plants to grow. And that's the way that I view it. And I think that we've, over a number of years, whether it's the community association, whether it's Prezdential basketball, whether it's Youth Ottawa, I think that there have been a lot of efforts by community members. We have a lot of the initiatives, the programs, the people, the organizations in place. And now we're looking to really push that forward, move a lot of these initiatives forward in conjunction with one another to really improve our home.
There should be more opportunities for guys like us, especially a guy like you, right? With all the skills that you acquired in your community building, to be able to do that as a career, and it be sustainable, man. That's the kind of stuff I'm fighting for, man. Right now, I'm advocating for it heavily, man. Like most of these people, they come ask you for help, but they do it for free, but they're getting a paycheck. So you're coming in to do their job, but they're getting the paycheck. Crazy out here, man.
I think my goal right now, I'm trying to become a better coach, so I'm trying to kill all the emotion stuff, and like, I'm serious, I'm gonna try my hardest not to talk to the refs, not to get involved. So guys, listen up. My starters, listen up. 3-quarter court, all right? 53 to start, 3-quarter court. Got it? On offense, motion, run and play.
Hey yo, Coyotes on 3, 1, 2, 3. Coyotes!
Like, it started as just like a competitive thing that's always gonna make me grow, and I learned everything off of it since then. Starting as like telling my mom that I wanna hoop, or telling my father that I wanna hoop, and they're like, nah, you know, it's not for you type of thing. And then my homies telling me you shouldn't hoop type of thing, you know? But for me, it's like the most comfortable place I could be when I'm hooping, you know? And people are telling me I shouldn't do that. So for me, I'm like, how can you tell me something like that? Does that show your understanding of me kind of thing? So for me, I was like, I want to tap into it and like understand myself kind of thing with ball.
Hey, 3-quarter. 5 seconds. Attack middle, draw 2. It's not bad. It still could be better. It's not bad. Still could be better, man.
You know, in Forset, it's just like, yo, you could tell like the family culture that it builds with you, you know what I mean? Those type of people are still they're gonna bust your ass, but you're gonna get to a time where you're gonna bust their ass too. But they're just showing you how to grow through it, you know what I mean? Just depending on who they are, because some people actually won't. Some people will just, you know, not show love to the people that outgrow them or get better than them at a sport or whatnot, right? But for someone to do that, bro, it's like a different kind of, you know? It's a different kind of love.
Guys, what are you dancing for? Why are you dancing? You want to be a hero or a winner?
I'm acting like we're losing right now. We're not, but you know why we're losing? Because you guys are not focused on the details. I told you guys, to become a next level player right now has nothing to do with X's and O's. You guys are getting layups, you're just missing layups. You guys are getting to the free throw line, you're just missing free throws. In order to become a next level human being, you have to be able to receive criticism and still evolve. If you guys are shutting down because we're telling you the truth, this is the end for you, La Cité Ball. You're not gonna be successful in life, you're not gonna be successful in whatever you're doing because you can't adjust to criticism. You can't adjust to criticism. You don't do it when we ask you to do it, and then you say, my bad. Adjust to the criticism. You guys have an opportunity right now to come out and adjust to the criticism. Let's go.
Why did you run for councillor? Like, you are the first Black councillor in Ottawa. Congratulations first on that. That is huge. You know, we finally have some representation. There's finally someone that looks like me representing me in these positions. Why did you make that jump?
Representation matters, right? I think that it's important for us to see ourselves reflected at governance tables. It's important to see ourselves reflected just generally. I mean, you did it through sports, and I know that you had a tremendous amount of success in sports. We want to ensure that all youth, no matter where they grow up from or what their cultural background is, that they have the opportunity to really display a tremendous amount of excellence, whether that's Black excellence, you know, in terms of any career that they choose. I'm a member of Police Services Board, and we were able to reduce the budget, because usually the budget would grow. We reduced the budget by 1%. Police governance is actually quite complicated in Ontario, so we can't actually eliminate the police service. You can't defund the police in Ontario legally. As an example, let's say we just wanted to arbitrarily remove dollars from the police service and not allow the police service to have the resources to do its work, the province would just step in. The province would just say, well, the municipality doesn't want to do this, so we'll ensure that we do this. We actually, by law, by the Police Services Act, have to maintain services. The question is, for us, bending the curve. We didn't want, because if we continue to increase spending for policing, what we're doing is we're admitting that we're failing. Yeah. And what we need to do is change the trajectory. And the way that we changed the trajectory was by saying, we are going to reduce the budget, which was hard because many people around tables would want to keep the same budget. They wanted to keep the 3%. I moved a motion and convinced colleagues to reduce that by 2%, redirect that money to the community, so it was redirected to City Council.
Interesting.
And City Council said, in its wisdom, because we have other councillors who are as concerned, we were able to redirect nearly $3 million to City Council to say, let's invest that in racialized, in programs, youth programs for racialized youth, for Black youth, and also for mental health crisis response, to get that going, because many of the interactions that we have with the police are unnecessary. Mental health issues are with youth. Those can be dealt with by social services. And so what we decided to do was kickstart that process, saying we need greater funding from the provincial government, from Queen's Park, to support their own legislation, which says we need a better model, which is through social services. But we needed to start that somewhere. And so we did that, and I'm really proud because I think that that's a historic step. I'm not certain of any municipality this year that's actually cut the police services budget to actually redirect it to social services. So that's part of the continuing work that we need to do, focusing on social services, where I would rather see money go into groups, as an example, like Prezdential. And so that's the direction that we need to go. You know all these lessons, because I mean, you got the scholarships and all of this. You know the amount of work that was required for you to get there. And that's the key. I think we just have to emphasize, don't be afraid of the work. You do the work.
Don't be afraid of the work. You're
Exactly.
right about that.
You're stepping in the way. You're stepping in the way. If they're making that pass over there, I want the guy over here that's guarding him to go over. Got it? All right? Besides that, it's just man to man. Just man to man. We get the ball, we gotta go. There's 27 seconds left. It's just dig deep. One stop, and we need a bucket. Go, go, go! Let's go!
And don't let people discourage you from doing the work, because there's going to be armies of people saying you can't do it, you're not going to be successful, you know, you don't have the resources, you don't have the skills, you don't have the money. Forget them. My feeling is that you have to keep the eyes on the prize and focus on the expertise that you have, the skills that you have, the dream that you have, and really work to obtain that dream.
I have worked with BIPOC youth in Ottawa's inner city communities for the past 5 years. I also grew up in Overbrook and saw firsthand how trauma, poverty, and a lack of structural support limited our choices in life. I've seen many youth from these communities fall through the cracks due to gaps in the system. Canada is supposed to be a beacon of success both for diversity and quality of life. But there are serious inequalities in terms of who gets access to that quality of life. The country relies on nonprofit organizations to provide a lot of its social services, but BIPOC grassroots organizations struggle to jump the hurdles and access the funding necessary to meet our community's needs. Meanwhile, this funding continues to be funneled to the same organizations year after year, who continue to provide the same outcomes. Much of the programming is no longer relevant to today's needs and lacks diverse representation. Many of our current systems are not adequately preparing our at-risk youth with the skills and mental and emotional stability required to succeed in the real world. I believe in the power of Prezdential, in the impact of our programs and community development efforts. I believe with the right support, Prezdential will continue to make real impact in the lives of our youth while fighting these systematic inequalities. Prezdential needs your help. We are on a mission to create sustainability, the sustainability of our community. We are aiming to create our own space where we can continue to implement culturally specific programming, leadership and skills development using sports and other creative outlets as our tools. There is a void of programming for youth after they turn 18. We would like to provide those youth with transitional programming and healthy outlets for their physical and mental health. We are also aiming to expand our success in Overbrook to other priority neighborhoods within Ottawa. These are our current objectives. If you would like to support, donate, or think you can help us towards our mission to create sustainability and grow our impact, please contact us at prezdentialbasketball@gmail.com or reach out to us on Instagram at Prezdential Hoops or Facebook at Prezdential.